Hi, my name is Christine Brown, and I'm so glad to be with you here today. Welcome to the breakout session on resources for new parents. So I first want to share with you a little bit of my story. And so the slide picture on the left are my three boys 13 years ago, and the slide on the right is my three boys today. So my two younger boys have PKU. Kellen is 13 and Connor is 15. So I have been where you are. I remember that call like it was yesterday, back in 2005, when we were told that our newborn screen had come positive for something called PKU. The most important thing that I want to let you know today is that you are not alone. And I've learned that it takes a community to manage PKU. And I want to assure you that the PKU community is vibrant, strong, and resourceful. So before I get into some resources, I do want to just pause and do a little review of what PKU is. So I want to play this short video on PKU 101.
Phenylketonuria, or PKU, is a rare metabolic disease that can lead to severe brain disorders caused by the accumulation of the amino acid phenylalanine to toxic levels in the blood and brain. Amino acids are the basic building blocks that make up proteins. Phenylalanine, or Phe, is one of the essential amino acids. It's necessary for life, but our bodies can't make it. So, phenylalanine must be acquired through foods that contain protein. Normally, once phenylalanine enters the body, most of it is converted to tyrosine by the enzyme phenylalanine hydroxylase. Tyrosine is then turned into neurotransmitters important for normal brain development and function. PKU is an autosomal recessive genetic disorder. Hydroxylase enzyme. The phenylalanine hydroxylase gene is located on chromosome 12, and over 600 mutations have been described. The degree of enzyme function can vary. When untreated, people with PKU develop symptoms such as severe intellectual disability, psychiatric disorders, and seizures. A pregnant woman with PKU must pay special attention to her phenylalanine levels to reduce the risk of maternal PKU syndrome that can result in heart defects, microcephaly, and developmental disability in her baby. In PKU, elevated phenylalanine levels and reduced tyrosine levels can change the way the brain functions. This is because phenylalanine uses the same transporters to get across the blood-brain barrier as other amino acids, including tyrosine and tryptophan. Tyrosine is needed to synthesize dopamine and norepinephrine, and tryptophan is needed to synthesize the neurotransmitter serotonin. As phenylalanine levels rise, it occupies all transporters, making it hard for tyrosine and tryptophan to get across the blood-brain barrier. As a result, dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin levels in the brain begin to fall, leading to abnormal brain development and intellectual disability. Testing for PKU is typically done as part of routine newborn screening, approximately 24 hours after birth. Screening is done by taking a small blood sample from a heel stick and measuring blood phenylalanine levels by a simple laboratory test. If the screening test shows high levels of phenylalanine and low blood tyrosine, a different method is used to repeat the measurement of the blood amino acids and to confirm the diagnosis. First-line therapy for PKU is the low phenylalanine diet. This includes medical foods such as low or no phenylalanine medical formulas that are a synthetic form of protein, and foods modified to be low in protein. All high-protein foods such as meat, fish, eggs, and dairy are eliminated from the diet. Measured amount of some grains, vegetables, and fruits are allowed, depending on the individual patient's tolerance of small amounts of phenylalanine. Each patient will need to customize the amount of phenylalanine dietary intake with medical professionals according to their individual needs. In addition to the low phenylalanine diet, 2 FDA-approved pharmaceutical treatments are now available. KUVAN is a cofactor for phenylalanine hydroxylase, which helps improve the PKU patient's innate PAH enzyme activity and increase their phenylalanine tolerance. KUVAN must be used in conjunction with the low phenylalanine diet. Palynziq can be used in adults with PKU. Palynziq is an enzyme injected under the skin every day by the patient that circulates in the blood, metabolizing phenylalanine, and substitutes for the defective phenylalanine hydroxylase enzyme. Palynziq works well for many adult PKU patients, but it can have serious side effects in some patients. Alright, as a quick recap, in PKU, phenylalanine levels build up and tyrosine levels drop. Symptoms in untreated individuals include seizures and severe developmental delay. In the US and much of the developed world, newborns are routinely screened for PKU. Treatment, initiated soon after birth, is based on a diet low in phenylalanine that requires the use of an amino acid-based medical food or formula, severe restriction of dietary natural protein intake, and the ingestion of modified foods that are lower in protein. 2 FDA-approved drugs are also available for the treatment of PKU.
I hope that was helpful to you, just a basic reminder of what PKU is. Now I want to turn to the mission of the National PKU Alliance. I want you to know that you are at the center of everything we do. We help you learn about PKU, how to manage it, what the future looks like, and how you can even help us cure it. That's right, we're searching for a cure. So imagine that when you got that phone call that your baby had tested positive for PKU, imagine that next day that you got a welcome kit from the PKU clinic on your first visit. This is where NPKUA support now begins. In that kit is a personal letter of welcome, a scale, a cooler bag, a blender bottle, some Band-Aids to help with blood draws, and some fun things too. A coloring book, Penny the Penguin has PKU, or a teddy bear or onesie. NPKUA support, again, starts right away. And in this kit is also a new parent guide. This guide gives information about managing PKU from diagnosis to 2 years. It has everything, including tips on breast and bottle feeding, how to take blood samples, tips on childcare, how do you transition to solids, all of those questions that new parents have. And it was done in partnership with Lurie Children's in Chicago. We do a lot of work with clinics and trusted medical professionals in all of our educational materials. We're also governed by a scientific advisory board. So I want you to know that everything that you see coming out of the NPKUA comes from trusted sources of information. You know, you've actually started right now by attending this virtual mini conference. You know, normally we're in person every 2 years. The NPKUA hosts the largest gathering of PKU families, adults, and professionals in the world. In fact, since we started our conferences, we've had more than 1,800 different attendees attend those meetings. And I hope to see you next July in person in Vancouver. Going back to other educational materials, again, we give you accurate science-based information. In fact, 126 people just like you accessed our website for information last year. We have everything on videos on different PKU treatment options, information on PKU camps that are happening throughout the summer months. Did you know that there's actually medical guidelines for PKU? These guidelines were put out by the American College of Medical Genetics and Genomics. You can find those guidelines on our website and use them as a way to make sure that your child is getting the best care possible for their PKU at the clinic that you attend. There's also information on cooking and food, links to How Much Phe, which you'll be hearing about next, and Cook for Love. There's also information on Disney, grocery lists for Trader Joe's and for Whole Foods. There's virtual grocery tour videos. And of course, there's also information on the latest research developments and treatment breakthroughs for PKU, including a clinical trial finder tool. So I just want to talk a little bit more about our PKU treatment series and give you a taste of this. This is a series of videos that we did in partnership with Children's Hospital Colorado. So we did 6 different videos: treating PKU with diet, treating PKU with KUVAN, treating PKU with Palynziq, a video on maternal PKU, transition to adulthood, and a video on returning to treatment.
I want to make healthy decisions because if I don't, then my focus kind of wanders off and I have a hard time thinking, processing, and I just want to have a good physical health too. And it's been really important that I follow that diet. When I was growing up, my parents, they taught me a lot of what I could and couldn't have, and sometimes I would go off track just because I was jealous of other people and what they were eating. But they did a really good job in teaching me how it affected my health, my mental health, and physical health.
The treatment of phenylketonuria, of PKU, involves limiting the amount of natural protein that a person takes in, because that's their main source of phenylalanine. You need some natural protein, but it needs to be limited to provide the amount of phenylalanine that the body is able to use, which is different for every person. And then we supplement the diet with foods that have no protein or have very little protein in them, which are we sometimes refer to as free foods. And then we supplement with something that are considered medical foods. And medical foods are products that are prepared especially to meet a specific medical need. In this case, the need to limit the amount of phenylalanine in the protein that the person takes in.
I can only have 9 grams of protein a day, so I drink my formula 3 times a day, and really just eating more vegetables and salad and mainly being healthy overall. And I try to stay active, and I think that helps with the mental part and the physical part. I try not to get myself too down about not having certain foods, and it's really helped my mental health because it's made me a stronger person.
PKU is the poster child for personalized medicine because no 2 people with PKU are exactly alike, and the treatment has to be adjusted and modified to be the right treatment for the individual that you're dealing with. For a person with PKU, it's very important to work with a dietitian, a nutrition specialist who knows the whole variety of what's available and can work with the individual to find the right combination of those things that's going to meet their individual dietary needs.
We have relationships with our patients from the time that they're babies, and we build this trust from a very young age, and we are able to walk through their life with them and see how they're doing in school and celebrate their accomplishments.
You know, virtual and Zoom are amazing, but sometimes you just got to be there. And one of the great things about the NPKUA is that we can provide local support through the NPKUA Affiliate Council. These are affiliated organizations that are part of the NPKUA that can provide that local support or regional support where you are located. We actually cover all but 15 states in the US. So I hope as you look at this list that you can find your local connection. One of the things that we are doing at the national level is we are providing additional support and resources to families. In fact, we launched a new program earlier this year called the NPKUA Pathways Program. We've trained 10 PKU parent and PKU adult volunteers, and they are here to help you and help you in your path to the best PKU management possible for your child. They can provide you with virtual one-on-one individualized assistance for anything that you need. They can help you with care coordination, 504 plans, insurance reimbursement support, info on, how do you put your child in daycare? What are some resources that daycare providers will need? They are here for you, and you can request those mentors on the main page of our website at npkua.org. I'm also happy to announce that we will be launching a new program of the NPKUA Affiliate Council in the next few months. We will once again have an insurance advocate contract. This is a person who will be able to assist you if you are having issues getting coverage for your medical foods, which can be your formula, as well as foods modified to be low in protein. Now, all of the medical food companies have patient assistance programs, and I'll be getting to those in just a few minutes. But sometimes, because of your insurance and how it's funded or what state you live in, they may not be able to provide you with the deep, individualized personal assistance that we will be able to do here at the NPKUA. One of the things too, I remember, and I still do this as my PKUers are now teenagers, is I wonder, how does my experience compare with that of others? And this is where you can find the answer and help the NPKUA at the same time. And that is joining the PKU Patient Registry. You'll be hearing more about the registry during this conference. But essentially, this is a secure online database to enter information that creates data over time by hundreds and hundreds of PKU patients. And by looking at all of that data together, you can actually help improve the treatment and understanding of PKU to move research forward. In fact, we're already changing how PKU may be treated in the future with results from the registry. I first want to talk to you about a patient assistance program offered by the National Organization for Rare Disorders. The NPKUA has been a member of NORD since our inception. NORD provides a number of assistance programs for rare disease patients, including patients living with PKU. They can provide you with medication. They can provide you with medical foods up to $1,500 a month, help with insurance premiums and copays, help with testing. They can even help you with travel to your clinic site. There are some different eligibility requirements, including meeting the need for financial need. So the contact information for NORD is on the right-hand side of my screen. This information is also on the NPKUA website. And of course, these slides will be available to you after the mini conference. So let's first talk about some of the patient assistance programs available from our medical food companies. If your child is on Phenex, that is made by Abbott. And Abbott has a program called the Abbott Pathway Plus. So this program can help you navigate the complex world of healthcare. They can contact your insurance company to verify coverage of Phenex. They also offer reimbursement activities like benefit verification, prior authorization support, coding and billing assistance, claims tracking, and can also help with your appeals process if your claim is denied. Their contact information is on the right of this slide. Again, this information is also on our website, and the slides will be available after the mini conference. The next patient assistance program is from Cambrook. They're the makers of Glitactin or Buttermilk. Their program is called Cambrook Cares. They can provide both formula and low protein food coverage support. They can help with copays. They can help with coding and billing information. They can help with insurance direct billing services. They can also help source where you can get their products through, whether that's a pharmacy, a durable medical equipment supplier, or a state program. Again, their contact information is on the right of this slide. The next company is Nutricia. So if your child is on Paraflex, this is made by Nutricia. Much like the other programs, Nutricia also has a program that can contact your health insurance to determine your coverage. They can also complete predeterminations, prior authorizations. They can support a medical necessity review if your claim is denied. They can also initiate joint calls between you, your healthcare provider, and your insurance company, and provide assistance in the appeals process. And lastly, we have VitaFlow. Now, VitaFlow doesn't have any infant formulas, but eventually maybe your child will be on one of their products, like the PKU Cooler. VitaFlow has a Formula for Success program. They provide assistance in helping you locate pharmacies, distributors, or durable medical equipment suppliers that you can get their products from. They can verify your coverage, advocate for coverage. They can also guide you through the appeals process if your reimbursement is denied, and provide appropriate letters as well as billing codes. Now, there's also 2 FDA-approved medications to treat PKU. And one of them that infants and younger children can be on, the brand name is called KUVAN, and the generic name is called sapropterin. The brand name of KUVAN is made by a company called BioMarin. BioMarin has a program called Rare Connections. So this is where you are actually connected with an individual case manager that can really provide you with a wide array of support services to get you the information that you need to have your child start KUVAN if your insurance will cover the brand name drug. In addition to helping you understand your insurance coverage, coordinating with a specialty pharmacy, helping with copays, they also have clinical coordinators that can serve as an integral part of your support system by helping you start KUVAN therapy. They work with your clinic. They can provide education and guidance. Their contact information is also on this slide and on our website. Now, the generic form of KUVAN came out last fall, and that's currently being produced by 2 companies that we're aware of. One of them is called Par Pharma. If you're on a generic form of KUVAN called sapropterin, they also have a patient assistance program as well as a copay assistance program. So as you can see, there's a lot of resources out there. There's resources from pharmaceutical companies, from medical food companies, and of course from the National PKU Alliance, as well as our affiliated organizations. So I'm so excited to introduce you to the next speaker, who is Sarah Chamberlin from PKU News and Much Phe, and she's going to tell you about a wide array of amazing resources to help you manage the first line of therapy for PKU, dietary treatment. Thanks, and here's Sarah.
Thanks, Christine. My name is Sarah Chamberlin, and I'm the Executive Director of National PKU News. I'm going to give you a brief overview of some of the resources we have for new parents. First, a bit of history. National PKU News is the oldest national PKU organization in the country. We were founded in 1989, and for 27 years, our founders sent a newsletter 3 times a year out to the community with information about research, recipes, stories about people with PKU. It was really the way that before the internet, the PKU community came together in this country. And we've evolved a lot, as you'll see. And we no longer have a printed newsletter, but we do have some additional resources which we hope will be helpful. I'm going to talk about How Much Phe, Cook for Love, Go Low Pro, and the community that sort of holds that all together. First, as I mentioned, my name is Sarah, and I am the mother of 2 daughters, one of whom has PKU. She's almost 8 years old. We also have a staff dietitian, Jennifer Beezer, who has more than 10 years of experience working with the inborn errors of metabolism community. And before that, she worked with the cystic fibrosis community as a dietitian. And our third staff member is Brenda Winiarski, the founder of Cook for Love, which was a separate nonprofit that we absorbed into PKU News a couple years ago. So how it started, the low protein food list for PKU was really the gold standard for PKU diet management for decades. It was a book about the size of a small phone book with 6,000 to 8,000 foods with Phe, protein, exchange, and calorie values in them. It was updated every few years, and it was a huge undertaking for Virginia Schuett. In 2015, we transformed the data in that into howmuchphe.org, which is a web app. It's not available in the App Store, but you can visit howmuchphe.org, subscribe, and then use it on your phone, your tablet, or your computer as an app. We now have more than 10,000 foods with validated Phe and protein values. And it's really much more than just a reference tool. It allows you to manage the PKU diet, track intake, blood Phe, shows you charts. It also allows you to export that data for your dietitian team. You can also create your own recipes, calculate the Phe and protein per serving. And it's integrated with Cook for Love in a couple ways. One, you have the same login for both websites, and all the recipes on Cook for Love are backed by the Phe data in How Much Phe, so you know that those values are trustworthy. There are a lot of other features I won't go into, but suffice it to say, the people who created this and work on it every day also use it, and so they sort of understand what it means to have a kid with PKU and need to keep track of their diet. We have an amino acid analysis program. If our dietitian cannot obtain a Phe or protein value for a food, we have the ability to send it to a lab and get it analyzed. And those foods are marked in How Much Phe, so you know that they have come through that program. It is a subscription service. It's $45 a year, and those funds go back to support the PKU community and all our programs. And scholarships may be available from your clinic or your local PKU support affiliate or PKU News. Out of How Much Phe comes a few pocketbooks, and you see 2 of them here. You may have hopefully received the baby book from your clinic. We provide this free to all newborns with an inborn error of metabolism in the United States and Canada within their first 2 years of life. So some people get it as a newborn and possibly lose it with all the other materials you're getting. Some people get it from their clinic when they first start solids. If you haven't gotten it, ask your clinic about it, because we send them to the clinics free of charge and they distribute them to you. The baby book and How Much Phe are based on, and essentials are based on what foods are used and looked up and tracked by How Much Phe users. So it's really, we use the data in How Much Phe to shape these resources, so we know they're the most effective possible. These are really great to have not only for your own reference. If you're not using How Much Phe yet, you can use the baby book to sort of manage the early stages of the diet, but also to give to grandparents, other caregivers, babysitters, daycare providers, and eventually teachers in school. And not only because it provides a quick reference to what foods are good for the diet or what, the Phe data in foods, but because they contain an introduction to what is PKU, how is the diet managed, is it an allergy? No. What sort of precautions you need to take with a child with PKU. And that really gives you the peace of mind to sort of educate other people without having to remember it every time. So you give them this book, they have a reference for how to, assist you in caring for your child. Cook for Love is really an amazing website of over 1,000 low protein recipes. Again, it's the brainchild of Brenda Winiarski, who, when her daughter with PKU was born, she's now in college. Brenda was convinced and committed that having a diagnosis of PKU should not diminish her daughter's love and enjoyment of food. So she quit her job as a speech language pathologist, where she'd actually worked with someone with PKU, and so she was familiar with it, and went to culinary school. And the recipes on this are amazing. And some of them are complicated, some of them are simple, but all of them are delicious. And as I said, all of these recipes are backed by the Phe values in How Much Phe. We've also incorporated recipes from Virginia Schuett's Low Protein Cookery for PKU and Apples to Zucchini, which was written by Virginia and another PKU News board member, Dorothy Corey. Those are sort of the oldies but goodies of PKU low protein cooking. Recipes are fairly simple, very low in protein because they were all written before KUVAN was introduced, and so the tolerances people were working with were very low. All those recipes are also part of Cook for Love. We have videos, we do Facebook Live events with our chefs. In addition to the chefs I've talked about, we also have Amber Gibson, who is a pastry chef and also the parent of a child with HCU, and Malathi of Taste Connections, which is a website that has recipes, mixes, and ready-made goods for the low protein diet. And all of Malathi's recipes are on here as well. What holds all of this together, and I think for PKU News and for all of us who work here is the most important thing is our community. You know, we don't have that printed newsletter anymore, but we have these online communities where every day we, our staff, other community members are interacting with each other. As you can tell, one of these was founded to be the sort of support group for Cook for Love and another for How Much Phe. There's a lot of overlap, but they're also, they're very valuable and groups with their own kind of personalities. So I recommend, if you haven't, you join both these groups. And they're not only dedicated or limited to cooking and How Much Phe. These run the gamut from my child was just diagnosed, you know, how do I cope, to, you know, my kids going to school, what do I do, to my kids going to college, what do I do, to I'm a woman with PKU who's going on the preconception diet, how do I handle it, and to issues of aging with PKU, which are, you know, pretty far off for all of the new parents who are watching this, but are going to be important issues to explore. And, you know, these are really rich, supportive groups. You know, we provide the platform, but the members here are really the value. And I think you'll find a lot of support in these groups. As I mentioned, we don't have the paper newsletter, but we do have an email newsletter every other month, which provides information on research, advocacy opportunities, ways to get involved, programs that PKU News is launching, other things going on in the community that might be interesting to you. We run a lot of surveys to try and gather information from the community to help serve the community, and all of that comes out in our newsletter. We also have a Facebook page. So I've put up all our social media up here, Instagram, a couple of Twitter accounts, and of course our Facebook page, which you can follow, and you can donate via Facebook as well if you wish. Lastly, I'm going to talk about Go Low Pro, which is our low protein grocery and restaurant locator app. This was developed in response to young adults with PKU saying they were moving out on their own, they were just learning to manage their diet, and they couldn't find places to buy the foods they needed or restaurants that would support their diet. And so maybe they were going to a regular pizza place with their friends rather than finding a Blaze Pizza, which had vegan or low protein pizza available for them. So we created this app, which you can use to geolocate yourself and find over 10,000 locations, either stores or restaurants. Search by product, search by meal type, find a restaurant, find a store, find a particular brand. One way this is really useful, even if you're not going to restaurants yet or your kid with PKU isn't eating off the table at restaurants, if you're traveling to grandparents or traveling for the summer and you don't want to schlep a suitcase full of low protein supplies, you can look up your destination and say, oh, there's a store there that sells the cheese that so-and-so likes, or the yogurt that we're going to need. And so that really is just a support for the community, but it's also powered by you. If you find a restaurant with a cauliflower steak, you can add it so that the next time someone comes to that town and says, oh, I need a restaurant that has a good PKU meal, they can open up your record, your review, your photo of the meal, and And it really helps enrich the community. And it's a way that as a very small community, we can all help each other. That's it for our basic resources that are good for the low protein community for new parents. We do have fun stuff like Cook for Love aprons, t-shirts that read Not Much Phe and Me, tags for your lunchbox or your lunch bag, so that when you're sending your kids stuff to school, you make sure that you get the extra food back. There are pantry labels and freezer labels for all those delicious Cook for Love recipes that you make in bulk and then freeze. And all of that's at shop.pkunews.org. And lastly, I just want to say I've shown a quick overview of our resources and sort of shown how we've evolved over more than 30 years of serving the community. The one thing that hasn't changed is that we are a part of the community, and we exist to help you. And so if you have a question, if you have an idea, if you have, a query that you can't find the answer to, reach out, because we're here to serve you. And we really look forward to working with you, as your children grow. Thank you. And now we're going to have Sandy and Leah from Oregon Health and Science University talk about clinic resources for new parents.
Hello, everybody, and thank you, Sarah. This is Sandy Van Calcar from Oregon Health and Science University in Portland, Oregon. We also have Leah Wessenberg, who works for our clinic. And we're here today to talk about what your clinic can do for you. Clinics operate in different ways, and so there's always some unique features, but some of these may be new to you that are worth talking with your clinic about, so that you can have your the best experience for your child. So I will be talking about the nutrition aspect of your clinic. What your dietitian can help you do is to recommend age-appropriate formula and medical food products. So formulas will change throughout your child's lifespan, depending on how old they are, and many other factors. They will also teach skills that are needed to monitor your child's Phe and protein intake. They'll give you tips and teach you how to prepare low protein foods, make diet adjustments based on monitoring of phenylalanine and tyrosine levels. They can also help address feeding issues at different ages. If your child is having problems taking new foods or problems taking formula, talk with your dietitian, because they can help you work those issues out. Your dietitian can also help you access formula and recommend different options. Many times we can provide samples of different formulas and different low protein foods so that your child can try them before deciding to actually change a formula or use different food options. It really depends on what state you live in, but your dietitian can assist with insurance authorization, particularly for formula. Different states have different ways of doing this, so talk with your dietitian and they can help you get authorization to pay for the formula that your child will need. They can also provide information and instructions for your child's school or daycare or any caregivers on how to feed and care for your child and take care of their diet. Many clinics also provide cooking classes or play groups, camps, and other opportunities so that you can meet other families and your child can meet other kids with PKU. When we're monitoring PKU, the thing that we look at most is your child's phenylalanine level. So we will set goals for your child's Phe level and help you understand why we are recommending a certain treatment range. Most clinics in the US recommend levels between 120 and 360 micromoles per liter, but there can be some variation between clinics. We can also monitor nutrition lab work and suggest age-appropriate dietary supplements if they're needed. And we can also adjust the formula prescription based on your child's nutrition needs. We will also teach you how to collect blood spots to monitor Phe levels. Many clinics will use filter paper blood spots, although again, this can vary with clinics, but your clinic will help you learn how to do this at home. I'm now going to turn it over to Leah.
Sandy, so I will talk a bit about resources that your clinic may offer related to the medical aspect of PKU. So first, your PKU clinic can discuss a trial of sapropterin, which you might also know by the brand name KUVAN, which can be offered to even very young children. Your clinic may have a particular age range, often during early childhood, that they like to start offering this. Your clinic can also let you know more about Pegvaliase, which you might also be aware of by the brand name Palynziq, which is currently FDA approved for adults 18 years and older. And your clinic may be also involved in or know how to get you connected with clinical trials or keep you updated on some of the emerging therapies for PKU. Your clinic can also offer genetic testing for both your child and also for family members, as well as a chance to talk with a genetic counselor about the inheritance of PKU. And then your PKU clinician will also monitor your child's growth and development. So, and they are a great person to ask if you have questions about that, as well as anticipatory guidance about what your child's next milestones will be and what to expect as they grow. And your clinic has other resources available as well. They can help you get connected with social workers who can help should you encounter any special challenges or barriers. And if you get linked up with any community services, which can be super helpful, such as WIC, financial assistance programs, preschools like Head Start, your PKU clinic can provide documentation and information about your child's PKU, their PKU diet, and other information that can help your family get the most from these resources. And your clinic can also refer you to or make recommendations for other providers and services as needed. These can include like developmental evaluations, mental health and counseling services, and community pediatricians. And your clinic can help you connect with other local families, which a lot of families really enjoy and also can find some good support with. And here are some resources that we like and some ones that our clinic recommends. A lot of these have already been mentioned, but we just wanted to highlight some of the ones that we found particularly helpful. So now we will open it up for questions.
All right. Thank you very much for that, Sandy, as well as Leah and Sarah. So we have one question so far that just came in, and that is, how long should it take to get blood results back?
I'll go ahead and answer this. It is very clinic dependent. I would say probably on average, it's going to be about a week. If you are using a system where you're collecting blood spots at home and sending it to a newborn screening lab or other lab in your area, I think that is kind of a standard amount of time. Other clinics may have quicker methods. Some it may take longer than that. I know this delay is really hard for new families, but be assured that we can still manage despite the fact that we might not have a level on the same day that we're actually seeing you.
Right. So Sandy, I think actually when Connor was born, you were our dietitian when you still lived in Wisconsin. And I'm just wondering if you can talk a little bit about, I just remember as a new parent waiting anxiously for those blood levels. And then I remember like one time, Connor's came back and it was like a 10. And I was freaking out that I was doing damage or something was happening or something was occurring and I wasn't being a good mom or managing his PKU well. So can you just talk a little bit, about those blood levels, for the first, I don't know, like 3 to 6 months, and what's normal and should new parents like me worry when you send in that blood level when they're babies, and you have that spike?
Mm-hmm. I can tell you not to worry, although I know all parents will worry anyway. I always tell my families it's going to be at least a couple months before we really know how much Phe your child is going to be able to tolerate. It is really common. In fact, I guess I'm honestly not thinking of any new family where we haven't seen spikes in Phe levels. It's really the overall control that we're looking at. And even though you might have a level or two that jumps up because of, it can be illness, because they're taking more breast milk, or there's just so many reasons that a Phe level can increase. And I think the best thing to just keep in mind is that your clinic dietitian and your clinic personnel will work with you to get those levels down. And it's a lot of communication, especially that first 6 months. But just expect that it is rocky. It's a rocky time, but that your clinic will help you through all of this.
Great. Thank you so much, Sandy. And I think as a follow-up to that, and I was actually going to add, the development of a home Phe monitor is still a great priority within the PKU community. It's something that the National PKU Alliance has been working on for quite a few years now. We initially had a research challenge that we did kind of as a crowdsourcing. And there's still, a few companies that are in the space and are moving forward. I would say that really your best source of information is, we actually did a webinar last year on the development of a home Phe monitor, where we talked about the different companies and the different prototypes. Some of that research was stalled during COVID, but happy to report that we've spoken to 2 of those companies within the last week, and research is moving forward now for at least both of those prototypes, now that things are starting to open up again, and research is happening again at a same type of space and timeline as before COVID. So I don't have anybody else. Please feel free to put in your questions either in the Q&A or in the chat box. happy to answer any questions that you might have. I think the other thing, too, as new parents and even as a parent of teenagers, I think right now we have maybe about 118 metabolic centers across the country, that treat PKU. And of course, all of them have different resources, have different, staffing capabilities, whether they're a research hospital or not. I know that the clinic that my boys go to right now, they only see children. And so we'll have to transition to a different clinic for them in a few years. So I'm just wondering, Sandy and Leah, when someone is, looking at a clinic or, is with a clinic and they might, have seen some of those slides and say, well, we don't have a neuropsychologist, or I don't know if we have a social worker, or, I don't know if we have those resources. I know that, our clinic, when we used to go to the clinic in Madison, I mean, they would have cooking events. I mean, they had their own kitchen there, and they would bring my kids in and they would cook something with them while I talked to the geneticist. So I'm just wondering, from being in this space as a medical professional, like, what do you think is, the I don't want to say like minimum that you need to have, but for you, like, what would quality of care look like in a clinic setting for a PKU family? I know it's a hard one. Maybe somebody else here that is still attending will come up with another question here in a chat, and I'll have something for you.
I mean, I would say that a good clinician. Yeah, I would say that even even in an environment or a clinic that doesn't have those things on site, I think that a good clinician would know how to help you access, the services that you're looking for. So, social work is a basic service that everybody in the population could potentially benefit from, so they should be connected enough to be able to answer your questions and help you find the things that you're looking for. Also with your community pediatrician as well. They should be able to work in a partnership.
Right, absolutely. I know that sometimes too, we're, tending to work more with nurse practitioners instead of biochemical medical geneticists. And I mean, that seems to be going, well from our part. Sarah, I don't know what your experience is, at your clinic and resources, and who you feel most connected to, and, who provides the most care for your daughter.
Yeah, I think for me, we're at Mount Sinai in New York. And for me, certainly the closest relationships that I have and that my daughter has are with the dietitians. That's really her day-to-day contact or care person. Certainly the geneticists are very important. But again, I think the people who know her best and sort of follow her development most closely are those dietitians. I was trying to post in the chat, but I couldn't post an image. I have a grid of my daughter's levels, a chart from the first year of life, not just those few months, and it is like bananas. It's like this. So, I just want to reiterate that it changes. Those bodies are growing every single day, and their metabolisms are changing, and their, hair is falling out and then it's growing back in. And all these crazy things are happening. And at the same time, you're trying to weigh them and measure them and weigh their food. And, there's no way to get that perfect in range, perfect line that you want. So don't worry about that. They're going to be fine.
I agree. And you didn't even mention teething. Oh my. For those stomach bugs and what that means, right? For those levels. Yeah. So we have another question that came in. So what is the importance of tyrosine, and how will high or low tyrosine levels impact the development of an infant or young child?
Well, I can attempt to answer that. So in PKU, because the enzyme just cannot convert phenylalanine to tyrosine, tyrosine becomes what we would call an essential amino acid. It's added to all PKU formulas. And if your child is taking a PKU formula, which I'm assuming they all are, the tyrosine levels are rarely low. What we're looking for with the Phe and the tyrosine levels, for the tyrosine, we're concerned about low levels. Different clinics have different cutoffs. I would say we typically look for less than 30 micromoles per liter as low, but if they're taking the formula, it's really, really rare to see low tyrosine levels. If it is a concern, there's different ways to remedy it. Probably the biggest one would be to increase intake of formula, but you can also supplement with tyrosine if needed. But again, the medical food really has plenty of tyrosine, and it's done on a purpose to, again, prevent low tyrosine levels in these kids.
Thank you, Sandy. I know that, oh, look, my dog is here. I know that, you know, when I get our kids' blood Phe levels back, we just get the blood, and we just get the Phe levels. We don't get the tyrosine levels. I know some clinics do report those, but I'm assuming that, you know, if you're doing blood spots, are you as a dietitian getting those tyrosine levels back with the Phe levels when people send in their spots?
Yes, it might vary by clinics. We get both Phe and tyrosine. I can imagine that some clinics don't report out tyrosine unless if there's a concern. Ours just kind of automatically go out, so you get both, whether you want it or not. But those numbers are looked at by dietitians and other clinic personnel, and what we're looking for are low levels rather than high levels like we do with phenylalanine. And tyrosine levels bounce all over the place. There's a big variation throughout the day. It really depends even more so with tyrosine than phenylalanine, how long it's been since she's had formula or had food. So, you know, somebody can have a tyrosine level in the hundreds, and the next time a tyrosine level in the 30s. It just really, really bounces a lot. And again, the reason we look at them is to detect low levels. Okay.
And I always remember being told that kind of like that sludge that's kind of in the bottom of my kid's formula, that's really where the tyrosine ends up settling. So that's why it's important, you know, to shake that, but also to make sure that you actually drink that because you need it, because that's where the tyrosine is.
Mm-hmm. I would say the newer formulas don't have as much sludge as the old ones did, but yes, tyrosine really does not like to be in solution, does not like to be in a liquid form. So it does tend to settle out. And so shaking the formula is always good practice.
Fantastic. Sarah, were you going to add anything? I thought you came off of mute for a second.
No, I was going to say, what's Kevin's special name for sludge? Because that's definitely not the name we want to use. Drink your sludge. Just Connor was saying there was a name for other, if you name foods creatively.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, we used to call cauliflower pirate fluff. Maybe you could call the sludge, like, I don't know, pirate booty or something. I'm not sure. So kind of funny. It is. Well, we are just about out of time. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Sandy and Leah and Sarah, for sharing the resources. And I hope that all of you who are live and going to be watching this as a recording, you know, just really realizes just the host of resources and support that is out there for you and for your family, not only as new parents, but as your kids age. You know, sometimes your challenges will get different, and there's support for all of those throughout the life stage, you know, with a number of different projects and resources. So I hope that it looks like we're up for a break now. And after that, I hope you guys will all stick around and go to the different networking sessions and meet other people. So thanks again, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.